Alright guys, what's up and welcome to BioS3 Raw TV. I want to do a little video right now. I just got done watching Andrea Valdez has her video, Should I Compete or Not? And let me start off by saying that these are my opinions and these are things that I've seen throughout the years. So I'm no way bashing Andrea or her coaches, 3DMJ, or I think Alberto Nunez is her main coach. But she's decided to not compete, not put a deadline on when she's going to compete, and just try to diet to get lean. She's already been dieting for 27 weeks. Now, this is the problem with that. If the Mr. Olympia is coming up and a pro has to get ready for the Olympia, he can't just decide, I'm not going to do the Olympia if I'm not ready, I'll wait. If it's Jay Cutler, he better be ready and he better be doing the Olympia. Now, there's a sense of urgency when you've picked a show and you have to go into it, that you push the pace, you push the intensity, you make sure you get the job done. You don't decide to coast along, because how hard and intense are you really going to push yourself? How hard and intense are you really going to diet if there's no real goal? If it's like, well, whenever we get there, we get there. That's a pretty lackadaisical attitude to have towards competition. Now, if you just want to be lean for yourself, fine, whatever. Diet for whatever. She's talking about 35 to 40 weeks now. She also went on to state that she was not mentally burned out or physically burned out. She just wants to be as lean as she can possibly be before she steps back on stage. Now, after 27 weeks of dieting, I don't care who you are, you should mentally be struggling 27 weeks. It's like half a year. Physically, you should be so broken down that you're barely making it to that show. And you should, without a doubt, be ready. Now, the fact that she's not mentally struggling or mentally burned out, her body is not burned out or overtrained or anything at all, and the fact that she showed up on stage twice, not in the type of shape she should have for a diet that long, goes to prove that 27 weeks was not training and dieting the optimal way to get ready for that show. Now, if it was me, would I do things differently? Absolutely. There would be no doubt in my mind that I would do things differently. Now, a lot of people are asking me, how the hell are you losing so much fat so fast? Now, if you look at a lot of these natural guys that use the flexible dieting, some of them are 42 weeks dieting, stuff like that. Mine right now is 8 weeks and I got 5 left to go. All right, and I'm down 40 pounds of fat and my strength is exactly where it was when I started at 240 pounds. Why? I'm not eating all those junk foods. Now, anybody will tell you, when you're dieting for a competition, if you go out and eat junk food for a couple days, you're setting yourself back, plain and simple. And if you do that consistently enough, and you're not doing the right cardio or the right amount of cardio, I mean, let's say, for instance, Andrea, she said she's not really working right now, so she's pretty much a sedentary lifestyle other than the gym. She's going to need more cardio than the average person who has an active job, who's out there walking around doing stuff all day. So these things have to take into account. You know, there is no one specific formula. But the formula that they have used so far twice has failed her, and now they've gone on to the, not choosing a show. Without the sense of urgency for that show, I've seen it time and time again. I actually had a client who decided to skip a show, and I watched. I sat back and I watched how she trained and how she dieted, and she did pull back. She was not training as hard. She was not hitting her cardio as hard. She was not sticking to the diet properly because she knew she had more time. Had that been shortened, when this girl finally decided to pick a show, all of a sudden, boom, here come the workouts, here come the cardio, the diet is in check 100%, and the dramatic changes that happened to her body were, they were mind-boggling compared to what was happening, where she was just kind of, going like this, losing a little bit, gaining a little bit. The fact that right now Andrea says she wants to be lean enough. Well, in 27 weeks, that's a long time. You should absolutely be lean enough. Okay? In my personal opinion, if you can't do it in 27 weeks, it's not going to happen in 40-something weeks. Okay? Even these natural pros that she's working with, these guys, they only have a few competitions per year for the natural pros. There's not like 30, 40, 50 competitions for these guys in this league. So if they're going to do a competition, they damn well better be ready for that competition on that day when they enter it, because now they're going for prize money and stuff too. They can't just pull out and say, well, I'm going to do one 4 weeks or 5 weeks, 6 weeks. They have a sense of urgency. They have to get to that show, be in their best shape possible, unless they planned on dieting 40 weeks and started 40 weeks before that show. Bottom line is that date of that show is super important towards getting 110% out of the athlete to make sure that they're in shape on stage. Now, I myself have personally done what Andrea is doing. I've gone on stage out of shape. There were several shows, one of them, and I'll be completely honest with you, there were a couple of shows where when I was doing massive doses of steroids, the steroids were fake. My body didn't respond. So what I did was say, you know what, fuck it, I don't have the drugs, I'm going to push as hard as I can for the next 10 weeks, and I dropped 60 pounds, including some of the muscle that I lost because I was taking stuff to be that big, and got on stage, and I walked away with a 4th place victory. Well, not victory, but 4th place placing in a state level competition. Now, could I have placed higher? Absolutely. Could I have skipped the show? Absolutely. But at least I knew going into it, I'm not going to quit. I'm not going to say, well, I'm going to wait. I have this urgency. I don't even know what I can do in this short amount of time. Let's see what I can do and push 100% and get to it. I think the longer the diet, the less urgency there is until the end. And then all of a sudden it's like, well, I need to be a little tighter. I need to drop a few more pounds. Then they start pushing like 2 weeks out because they're not ready. And the body goes all sorts of haywire. It's almost like a sense of shock the body goes into. Sometimes it doesn't want to drop the weight. So now you're at this point where you're trying to drop weight, you're pushing intensity, you're cutting carbs. You know, some people cut water, some people cut sodium, some people add sodium. They do all sorts of crazy shit. And they wind up on stage looking like they're 5 weeks out from a show. And like I said, I myself have done this. I took the responsibility for myself. I did it to myself. I did work with the coach one time, followed what they said exactly, looked phenomenal till the day before the show, wound up at the show after taking aldactone, which is a diuretic, and eating sweet potatoes, which I hadn't eaten for 16 weeks, which basically changed something in my diet that my body didn't know what the fuck it was. That completely changed the way I looked. And that's what happened with the fiber when they yanked it out of her diet. Her body was used to having it. You pull the fiber out, what is it going to do? It's not going to miraculously keep working if it's had it to use the whole time. Then you put it back in and it takes a few days for it to start working again the way that it is supposed to work. So there's a lot of things that go into getting ready for a competition, but I do not feel like the non-time frame, the whenever I'm ready thing, works very well. It works for very few people. I'm not saying Andrea can't pull it off. What I'm saying is if she had this sense of urgency, it would be much better to say, this is the date, I need to adjust this, this, and this, and get it done, and I'm going to do it, period. Not, let's see what I can do, maybe this, I'm going to do it. BioSCTraining@gmail.com. Leave comments down below. www.bioSCTraining.com is the blog, and we're out.